As gun violence has spiked in New York, Mayor Eric Adams has made it a top priority for the NYPD. But as Charlene Freeman reports, there are community groups also working on solutions.
Family and community members are mourning the shooting death of Bronx teen Jason Perez. Jason was reportedly punched and then fatally shot on May 13th as he exited a grocery store in the Highbridge neighborhood of the Bronx. He was just 17 years old.
There's no winners in this gun game. If this mom is crying, I'm crying. If it's my son's friend, I'm crying. And we're tired of crying.
Minister Tara Brown Arnell heads the nonprofit organization Bronx Connect. Bronx Connect works to prevent youth violence and incarceration. This includes a gun violence prevention program called Release the Grip, or RTG. RTG and other gun violence prevention activists planned this peace rally near the corner where Jason was gunned down.
So we're going to have...
Gun violence is a public health crisis.
And the NYPD reports that the number of shooting victims increased citywide by 75% in the 2 years since the pandemic began. And in the Bronx, where RTG serves, the number of shooting victims has more than doubled, in a borough that already had some of the highest number of deadly shootings in the city before the pandemic began. I recently visited with the RTG North office in one of those hot spots near Bronx 44th Precinct to learn what they do to stop gun violence. And it all starts with credible messengers. Credible messengers are longtime neighborhood residents who are trusted and respected in their communities. They also have criminal records and a history of violence.
My experience with violence, it was growing up, we see it out the window. Like, I experienced it because when my brother was killed, I was only like 12.
As an adult, Shahid says he has served 16 years of his life in prison for violent crimes. He also says about RTG staff,
each one of us, almost every last one of us, been affected by gun violence one way or another. Probably been shot, or if anyone has been killed. So when we come here, we have the same passion. And when we do our job, we all at this, like, we have that passion, like we're gonna save somebody.
I'm a violence interrupter. What we do at the school is we come, we interact with the kids, we give them that comfort of seeing us every day. Once a person comfortable with seeing you every day, now they get to talk to you. They start to ask questions. Now you in tune to what's going on. So when it's some type of problem, they're comfortable to come and talk to you. So now you can mediate it before, you can have a chance to mediate it before it actually spill into violence.
When we out here, we stop them from fighting, arguing. They know we out here, they don't even do it. They just happy to see us here, have a safe environment, come out.
We try to target schools that get a lot of complaints about gang violence, or if there's a lot of issues with fights and stuff like that. We was once part of the problem, now we're trying to be part of the solution. Me personally, I joined the gang when I was 11 years old. Not something I'm proud of, but it's my life story, it's my truth. And it also gives you hope to the other kids to show them that they can make a difference, they can change.
violence interrupters de-escalate and mediate conflict. They also encourage high-risk youth to become participants in RTG's services. Community outreach workers then serve as case managers, helping the youth access educational and employment opportunities.
My job is to make sure, like, if they needed someplace, like, to come and talk, if they needed somebody to talk to, listen to ear, I'm that with no judgment. If they needed help going back into school, I can give them resources and referrals to that. If they needed a job, I can give them resources and referrals to that.
Like Maura, Nellie is a former participant who now serves as a community outreach worker, and she has been personally impacted by gun violence.
Unfortunately, my brother was murdered when I was 16 years old, actually right here in front of our office. I would say just in June of 20, I lost my little brother, more like my kid, to gun violence inside my gate. So that just made me, want to put a stop, change my ways.
Nellie says RTG helped her get her life back on track after incarceration for selling drugs. She completed the reentry program and became a construction worker. She started a clothing business inspired by her late younger brother. and she returned to RTG to serve first as a violence interrupter and now as a community outreach worker. Shakira Velasquez says most of the youth that they serve have been exposed to a lot of violence at home and in their neighborhoods while growing up. Some also grew up in gang-affiliated families. They don't see a way out. She says through therapy, she helps them recognize possibilities and develop nonviolent coping skills to manage the stress.
So what happens? They hang out a lot in the streets. And unfortunately, there can be a drug dealer in that corner that takes their vulnerability. Or there's a gang member that's older that takes that vulnerability and exposes them to high cash of money. So now you have a gun. Now that gun is giving you that safety that you feel like you wasn't getting at home. So now you feel like you're untouchable. And it just keeps escalating. I want them to know that there's more to life than just the Bronx. And those dreams that they had, that they write about, you can make them happen.
For 219 West, I'm Charlene Freeman.